So now when you talk about design, making a country more interesting, making your products more interesting, we can talk about four things. In the UK, since we're talking about the UK, the United States, Korea, and the Philippines, in the UK, you call it soft power. Soft power is this power that a country has that makes it able to draw in all these interesting things, tourists, people, students. It makes you want to go to the United Kingdom versus hard power, which is a country's military power, money. So that's what's called soft power. In the United States, it's called Southern Charm. Before you go to that area or those few states in the South, you expect this kind of warm feeling from people you meet. In Korea, it's called Shining. It's called Shining by the young people because what happens is it's all about this thing that was taught to them when they were in kindergarten. It's a story about the sun and the wind. Now, there was this guy who was right there, and the wind and sun were making a bet who could get the cloak out of this guy as soon as possible. So eventually, we all know what happened. The wind blew as much as he could, and the guy just held on to his cloak. And what the sun did was shine very well. And then the guy took it off because it was fairly warm. In the Philippines, soft power, southern charm, and the shining in Philippine pop culture is called haba ng hair. So what can we do about Philippine design? What can we do for Philippine design? There's 6 things that I'm gonna propose. It's not actually solutions, but I'm presenting ideas and visions of what we can do to improve on Philippine design and be part of it, actively and otherwise. The first one is we have to believe in Filipino design. You know what? Before you act on something, before you actually write a letter, you have to believe what you're about to say first or make yourself feel like you're believing. And really, who else will believe in design from the Philippines? Sino pa? But Filipinos all over. Sino pa ang magmamahal sa Philippine design kung di ang Pilipino? The next is solve problems in the Philippine way or Philippine style. In the most recent design studies all over the world, for example, one recurring conclusion that they get is that design solutions that work for one country cannot just work in another country immediately. You cannot transfer innovation and let's say something worked as well in Korea, why can it not work, for example, in Thailand? Of course, it can't because the culture, the context is entirely different. But you know what? You cannot just import quality thinking from other countries and bring them into the Philippines. But you know what? We can actually do very good quality thinking and quality design here in the Philippines as well. But guess what? If you mix up quality thinking with quality insight, coming from Filipinos who know the Philippines the best, then you come up with quality products. So it has to be tapped that way. Do you like the photo? I like, still there? I was salivating when I saw that. You must create safe places for design thinking. I feel that we must empower free thinking, free thinkers. I feel that in design training, the correct design process is more important than the end product. With the right design processes, individual designers could create new designs, differentiate themselves, and create new patterns based on who they are, based on how unique they are, and based on how they are individuals. We must not breed a generation of designers who like the same things, who design the same way, and aspire for the same goals. Be yourself, let go, try things out, because really, the design cosmos is too large just for a few people. There's a place in the design cosmos for every designer. We must identify hotbeds. Sounds interesting. We must identify hotbeds of design and innovation. Hotbeds are sectors in society where design and innovation are fastest growing and the most dynamic. I want you to reach out in these sectors, join in and mix in and share in their energy. Design happens when who you are overlaps with someone else. That sounds like a relationship. But anyway, design happens that way. So let's say for business, with the developments happening in corporate social responsibility, CSR, innovation must happen in Philippine business. And this innovation must be meaningful and relevant. In the LGBT sector, for those who are not familiar, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender sector, with their unique history, very interesting history, watch the movies, and prevalence within a society that has no formal infrastructure, infrastructures to acknowledge them, the LGBT community has learned to adapt, manage, and persevere through creativity. I have a feeling that there's a larger ratio of LGBT designers than otherwise. I would love to see the numbers one day. I think it's fairly higher. Youth, there's something electric with youth. It's over here in the middle. There's something electric with youth, and design needs this energy. I think the current youth sector never experienced, maybe the young ones, manual typewriters, cassette tapes, mixed tapes, or things analog. I don't know if they've even tried dialing rotary. I have some nieces and nephews who do not know how to do that. While some may perceive this to be a disadvantage, I think it makes for a truly unique perspective and awareness. You know, the now generation, this is the youth right now, the now generation wants things fast and will work for it right now. Technology, interconnectedness, and a strong will to participate. They want to be in the global arena of technology in the Philippine tech industry. Is very important. By its very nature, the tech industry needs design and needs to innovate because there's no other way really for tech. With ecology riding in the wave of eco trends happening around the world, the eco industries in the Philippines have the potential to leapfrog or leapfrog through changing scenarios because new technologies continue to emerge at an ever-increasing speed. When I say leapfrog, a good example is the idea that, you know what, you do not need, for example, an infrastructure to put all these poles on the street when really there's a lot of cell phone and mobile phone technology all over the country. You've skipped through and you did not have to go through having all these poles in your environment because of that particular innovation. And lastly, retail. The retail sector is the new definition of community space. Retail spaces are the most conducive venues to bringing people together. A venue for mixing together and exchanging thoughts. You go to the mall when you want to talk to someone. A venue for mixing thoughts and exchanging thoughts and ideas in the Philippines. I think years ago it used to be Luneta when you go out on a date. Right now I think it's Greenbelt. The retail sector needs design and innovation to develop from centers of entertainment, just entertainment, to centers of personal growth and development. So those are the hotbeds. And I also feel that we have to identify role models in design. I think it's very important because of these few points. The design talent in the country must not centralize, if you look at that dartboard, must not centralize into the same design personalities. We cannot be a country of a select few celebrity designers, I insist. Everyone else must level up. And those who are celebrity already must find a way to expand vertically, reaching out, and horizontally as well. Our role model designers must, from within them, like the image on the right, ripple out their creative expertise and expand outwards, sharing, teaching, educating, passing on their skills and knowledge beyond blogs, beyond small talks, but maybe more teaching, inspiring. These role models must realize that to expand on their own personal careers, they must share their experiences and expertise and share some love. Filipino designers must design keeping the world in mind. You must think in terms of how it will be outside of the world, outside of the Philippines. You make a new brand in the Philippines, you Google it up, and you see, what is this word about if it were another country, if it were from another language? What does ganda mean, for example, in another place? You have to figure these things out because really, that's how it's going to be read. Nothing right now is local anymore. And the most interesting part, we must identify the touch points, like a hotbed, the touch points of design and design them. So what are touch points? I mean, how do you figure out what a touch point is? A touch point is how a person, like you and I, experience a particular design or product. Well, let's make an example. What are the touch points? How do you design the touch points of government? of Philippine government. You want people to understand, feel, and appreciate Philippine government this way. So how do we do that? First, we design money. Then we design our roads, make them look interesting, make them look safe. Make them safe. We must design our airports, safe and all that. We must design the way our energy infrastructure is set. So you know what? It creates energy, but guess what? It looks good too. And I want to have a photo next to that thing, I don't know what it is, wind turbines all along the road. I don't think it's on the road anyways. We must design, and we can design a touch point, which is our public spaces. So people, after dating in Greenbelt, for example, will want to go to Luneta Park. We can also design the touch points, which are our events and gatherings, because guess what? This is how people from other countries see how we are when we are with government. They see how we react. And when we clap, they wonder, they're clapping for the right things or just really like what the person on top is wearing? It's very interesting. So we can also design our houses, our touch points, or our tourist areas, our cultural venues, and even our passports. I've been to I could spot a passport from like several meters down the line, and you'll know who's Pinoy, and you'll know who is not. It's interesting because you can't really tell so many ways right now who's Pinoy in the queue when you're in the passport. But it's interesting. You can spot a green one, or a brown one, or a red one, or a blue one, or a light blue one immediately.